Yeah, well, hello. I am Mark.
Yeah, and I'm
Nice to
Jack.
meet you, sir.
This is going to be a very strange, untitled podcast that we have no idea what to call at the moment.
Yeah.
But we did think in the midst of a global pandemic and isolation, where we have nothing better to do, we thought why not start it now?
Yeah, essentially serenade them with the soft and somber tones of our voices.
Exactly. We've already discussed, off camera, I guess, of like how it's very strange to talk to nobody, even though you're talking to somebody. But I don't know. How do you think that it's kind of like related to our sort of issue here, where we don't really know? We've got isolation. We're just talking to monitors at the moment. So
Yeah,
yeah,
podcasts are a very sort of strange format for conversation. It's just I don't know, man. Like I'm struggling.
well,
Usually I can talk the ear of someone. I can like literally talk bullshit for an hour if you got me like in the room with someone. But as soon as you start recording something, it's
yeah.
just
I
it's
guess it's
all a
that sort of
mess.
streamer anxiety, isn't it, at the moment? Where like, for me, I guess I'm kind of used to it. I play a bit more PC games than you do, and I play a bit more sort of like looking at monitors and stuff like that than you do.
Yeah.
I'm also more used to being in my room and stuff like that alone, so I'm actually okay about spitballing out in the open. But like,
Yeah, fair enough.
I guess the question that I was sort of asking you was like, do you find it like, I guess, strange that we're talking to nobody, but at the same time still talking to people? It's sort of like a
Yeah,
one-way communication issue here.
it is. It is kind of like, strange. If I wanted to add a fantastical angle to the way this works out, is like we're literally talking through a tunnel of internet that
Yeah,
connects our houses together almost
I think so.
magically,
Yeah.
right? Really, I'm in a dark hallway, which is
Yeah, I
nothing
can't
but the
imagine if we just describe our situations. One sounds very much like, "Hey, I've got all the money in the world," and the other one's like, "Hey, I'm struggling here." Like, for reference, like,
legitimately
yeah, for
fucking
like,
dark, eerie hallway. Like I could get murdered in this sort of hallway.
for reference,
It's a
we're obviously
locale.
we're both at home and we have like, we have to be because we're quarantined. But I'm sitting in front of a PC with two monitors at the moment, like watching the recording. While Mark, I guess you're sitting in a hallway of your house on a stool, I guess.
Yeah, literally on a stool that I dragged out of my room. It's the most rickety thing in the universe. You can hear
just
it creak every now and then when I shuffle about.
just trying to sit as close as possible to the internet.
Without being too close to everyone I live with.
Yeah.
So
But
it,
yeah,
it, it, it adds another touch to the conversation knowing that everyone's probably listening in. I'm literally right next to doors, so they can hear me.
I
So
guess it puts you in some undue pressure of trying to come
yeah.
up with something to say at the same time. But yeah. So like, how are you coping at the moment with being isolated in terms of like Corona and the global pandemic at the moment going on?
Yeah.
How are you managing? I guess.
I think there's like a universe of like underlying fear. I'm kind of getting from I guess everyone I speak to. May it be someone who I work with or friends that I call up every now and then. I think everyone's. It's not that it's in the face. Like obvious fear. It's just like it's something that people sort of dance around in terms of conversation. But everyone kind of there is a bit of that I feel going around.
Yeah.
Like I never really think it's fear for themselves, but fear for who they can sort of spread it to, like family members around the world,
Mhm.
wherever they are.
Yeah.
There's a lot of thoughts
I
going
definitely
around.
think that's the case. Like, it's a lot of like, I guess, fear mongering, and we won't get too much into like
Yeah,
how media does it, all that stuff. But like, at the same time, I think it's also a lot of not having a lot of knowledge in the sort of these
yeah,
areas, like how this started with people not actually washing their hands and doing basic hygiene. Like, now some people are going over the top with it. Like, and I don't,
yeah,
and I'm in no way saying that, hey, everyone's overreacting, because they're definitely not. This is a very,
yeah,
very big issue. But at the same time, like, if people would have just done these small things at the beginning, it may have helped a certain situation. And then,
yeah,
having everyone locked down, in my opinion, a bit too late, but it would have been nicer to lock it down a little bit earlier. But having that sort of
yeah.
isolation, I guess, with people like us who play a lot of video games, I think it kind of comes off as like us going, "Ah, well, it's just another day at the office," sort of thing. And I'm wondering if, like, if you
Yeah,
feel kind of feel like that way as well.
Yeah, no, yeah, definitely. I definitely do. You know, if I talk about the actual effect of the coronavirus and the wider practical, the way it's influenced people, it really varies from person to person. You know, I'll talk to you, and me and you will be very controlled about the conversation. You know, neither of us like jumping from the walls or anything like that.
Hmm.
Some people I speak to, for example, my older sister, she honestly like she's definitely watching the news. You know, everything that changes,
Yeah.
updating us like frequently in the group chats. And then I've got some other people that you speak to that honestly it's not much at all.
Yeah, like I
Like
guess some people are just climbing at the walls because they don't really know what to do. You know.
yeah, yeah,
Um,
yeah. That's
that.
one thing that I've been really concerned about recently. Is like we've got a lot of spare time, and I wish there was a way that I could actually help physically. I know the best thing I can do right now is to just stay at home, sort of like self isolate, right?
Yeah.
But there's also I've always been I'm just sitting here thinking, oh my God, like should I be going out buying groceries for older people or something like that?
Well,
Like is there
yeah. I have read like that there are certain volunteer programs you can do. Like for instance, my
yeah,
brother is volunteering at the hospital. Like not to be on the front lines per se, but to handle I think like their back stuff and like on the back
yeah, I
channels.
see.
And like there are, I guess there are
Yeah.
things you can do if you want to, but it's also like
Mm.
you still have that fear at the end of the day of like, oh, am I going to infect my family here? Because at the same time
Yeah,
I am going out, I am doing kind of like air quotations unnecessary risk to sort of
yeah,
help the community, of course, but at the same time, am I putting my family at danger? And I think that's what's stopping a lot of people from actually helping and doing other things. I mean, it would do for me. It's an invisible killer, this thing. So we don't really know how to act in these certain situations. It's unprecedented in our
yeah.
lifetimes, at least. Yeah, and
Yeah, it's really strange, like one day you hit 25 and suddenly everyone's indoors, told to be indoors,
hmm
with plans going out to keep you indoors. Something that's never happened before in our lifetimes.
yeah,
So definitely a drastic change. So
but yeah, like rather than
I guess
sticking on the old negative, like let's talk about the positives of this isolation, I guess. So I don't know, being I guess kind of an introvert, kinda yourself, like would you must say that this has had some sort of to put a positive swing on it. We're not actually that much different, I guess. Like the way we act and what we're doing at the moment. Like how are you channeling your time at the moment with Corona?
yeah. I mean, we spoke earlier on today about like a conversation I had with a friend recently,
Hmm.
and for some people, this self-isolation is sort of like a haven away from just the usual swing of going out every
Yeah,
week and doing loads of stuff. It gives you a lot more time to develop your own personal skills and objectives, like stuff you had on your mind to do for like a long time but never really had the time to do it.
hmm
So it's been very sort of interesting on that side of the fence, I guess. Like me personally, I feel like I've had plenty of time to engage with like a lot of the things I've always wanted to get at, like some books that I've wanted to read,
yeah,
drawings that I wanted to draw, like stories that I wanted to write. Having a lot more time to do these sort of things and like structure my day around them has really made the time pass really quickly. I don't know. How do you find it so far?
yeah. I would agree with that. I think like trying to channel your sort of like actions and channel like you on a personal level is what this is basically testing us of. Like we are,
Yeah,
people that kind of can be inside our own head, and I do feel sorry for the people that can't be. Like the people that can't actually be isolated, and then it's worse for them. But
yeah,
luckily, only speaking from my personal experience, obviously it's all subjective. But like for me, I've tried to channel that and been like, well, every day you're not actually gonna be going to work, are you? Because you can't.
yeah,
You can't leave the house that much. You can leave it once a day. Our prime minister has said, so to do exercise. So I thought, well, why not do that? So I've been going out jogging every day, like trying to channel, I guess, this make the best of a bad situation, basically.
yeah,
Trying to like take on little tasks that you can do, but I feel like it is slowly waning on me. I think if I had to think about it, like I think a couple more months of this, I might start to lose my mind a bit. But like we don't really know what's going to happen in a couple of months. I know for you, your PS4 is broken, so
yeah.
I can't imagine having not access to any of the things that you want to play. So
Yeah, I'm in a isolation haven, and for when you do like become a lunatic and go a little bit mad. I'm looking forward to one of these podcasts starting with you drawing equations on your wall, and then you go, Mark, I just discovered the connection between like Michael Jackson and COVID-19, and I'm there like, yes, this is going to be a good podcast. I'm looking forward to this.
Maybe it could be.
Excellent
It
news.
could be the start of something great. Like Jack's insane adventure. But we'll see about that one.
I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah, no, it's weird because even for extroverts, we're talking about being slightly introverted, which is strange for us too, because I say we're like seasonal extroverts. I guess
yeah.
every now and then we'll go out all the freaking time, meeting people, doing stuff. Really active weeks, like four-day weeks, 5-day weeks, just going out, seeing people after work, after our busy hours. So we can be extroverted sometimes, but we do have that introverted self-defense mechanism that kicks in during times like this, like the isolation, where we can be by ourselves and be okay. Like I can't deny what you talked about before, like it's starting to slowly like drag at you. I can definitely feel that a little bit. I
Yeah.
can't deny a part of me. I can definitely sense that looming over me like a shadow, like
Yeah.
coming in. Yeah, I don't want to call it like a paradise for staying at home or a paradise for activity, but
No.
it kind of has been
Like
almost.
it.
As you said, you've been going out running and that sort of stuff. It's incredible.
Yeah.
It's good. It's a
Well,
good
thank you.
workout.
I mean, it's
Yeah.
kind of like that thing of like at the moment, obviously the situation is terrible. Like people are dying in that, but like we have to try and make best of what we can. Like there's no point just us sitting there watching the news all day, because I honestly think that sometimes some of the worst thing you can do is watch the news all day. Like
I
my
I, I
my
agree.
my brother
Yeah.
used to watch Sky News like all the time, like, and everything you see
Mm.
on there is just bad news, bad news, bad news, bad news. And while I do need to know about the bad news, like you need some positive stuff, like in your life at the same time, and like
Yeah, definitely.
I guess the only positive things that we've had now is having a I mean we spoke because we do, for anyone who doesn't know, work at the same place, so we had discussions about how we wanted to take our holiday because we have been working our asses off basically, and we just wanted to have some sort of time away
I'm
from that
away.
work life. And I won't say obviously this is it, but it kind of is at the same time. Like we're not being made to work. It's undue rest everywhere, but at the moment we kind of got what we wanted in terms of
We've got an
like
evil adaptation of what we asked for.
exactly,
Yeah,
yeah, like where we
definitely.
can actually take some time away and actually do what we want, I guess. But I don't know, maybe sometimes I think some people crumble under the fact that they can do whatever they want, and some people
Definitely.
thrive on it. It's a bit like Darkest Dungeon, when you go into a dying state and you can either go to the negative path or the positive path, and I think that's what we're trying to go down, is the positive one.
Yeah, I mean, I guess for people like us too, I mean, especially with what I've heard you've been doing like creatively at home and like running and keeping yourself physically like fit is like but when the barriers come down, the isolation ends. You'll go back to society running, with like as much energy and strength that you can give it, sort of
Mm.
thing. Like you'll
I
return
mean,
to society a bit more
I
positive
would
or
like to think
stronger. Who
so.
knows?
I also genuinely
Yeah.
think that as soon as the isolation ends, I ain't going jogging again. Like, I hate jogging. I think it's horrible. But like, it's good to clear your head. But man, oh
Yeah.
man, is it like it drains your body? I've got like blisters all over my feet. I'm like, I don't know why people do this for fun.
I
It's
imagine this is your iteration of purgatory. It's like you get to that like blank wall of like endlessness, and you just have to jog forever. Like that'll be your afterlife.
oh,
Right?
just endless like cardio would be terrible for me.
Endless cardio. It's like the one demon going, "Yeah, you said a couple of naughty words. Here we go.
Exactly.
Get jogging.
Like
Go
I said
forever."
it before about like gym and that. Like I do find cardio to be, one, the most boring, and two, like I don't get it. It's like our bodies are made for cardio. Yeah, I just hate it and can't do it. Like
Yeah.
sure, I don't know. I don't know if you feel the same. I think you said you enjoyed running, but like
I do
yeah,
actually,
it's
but I
good to
don't
clear
go
the
out.
head.
Yeah, I don't go as frequently as you do. So you have definitely more perspective and experience in that department. I imagine. I already spend too much time in my head by myself. I imagine like running would just be a lot more of that, which I can kind of survive with. I'm okay
I
listening
think
to the
so.
voice in my
Like
head.
ironically, I do. Like at the moment, I've been listening to podcasts while I've been jogging. So it kind of helps, listening to other people's thoughts rather than listening to my own is a good way of looking at it, I guess. Um,
Yeah, definitely.
but like to roll this
Yeah.
back to isolation, I guess like the only other thing that I can think of is like I guess some of the things that I've been doing is like watching movies. So like
Yeah.
to like branch onto that topic, like I did watch a movie recently. It was like I think it's called The Platform.
Hmm.
It's obviously like I think it's a Spanish film actually. It's on Netflix original, I think, and it's a really interesting concept of like having like this massive hole down the middle of this structure, and everyone living on different platforms, and the people at the top they get this massive banquet of food, right? And you get to eat for
Yeah,
like 10 minutes, and then as it goes down each level, like it stops at one place for like 5 minutes, and the next one for 5 minutes, and it keeps going down and down and down. But the catch is, you can eat what you want, but the people below you get your leftovers basically. And
yeah.
it's thought that in the film there's like over 100 floors or something like that. So it's like a obviously it's a massive metaphor for like capitalism and stuff. But I was just wondering like if you were like, because I know you haven't seen it, but if you were to see like a society like that where basically, I mean, it could be a metaphor for our own, I guess, but like where the first come, first serve basis, everyone below you just gets you hand me downs. I'm wondering
I
if
mean,
like, well,
topically, I guess that couldn't be more relevant than it is today. I mean,
yeah,
a couple of the posts you see on the newspapers, just like Prince Harry or whatever, like people who don't even have the virus getting tested for it immediately.
mm,
When if you went yourself, they wouldn't even dream of testing you if you, especially if you don't have it. You have to be in a critical condition for them to respond to you if you have the virus. So I've heard online. Obviously,
well,
it's a subjective
there is evidence
experience.
to back that up. Like as I told you before,
Yeah,
my brother
people are
has,
getting really angry about this sort of thing because
yeah,
people
like
getting tested.
my brother has like
On a,
recently been, I guess, air quotations again, diagnosed with it, but he hasn't been
yeah,
tested. So
yeah,
it's
yeah,
like,
yeah.
in fact, they straight up told him you can't come to the hospital until you get down like more symptoms, until you get more worse. Then you can come to the hospital.
Yeah.
So it
Yeah,
is
in
kind of
which
like a
case,
weird thing.
that movie's an exact portrayal because I guess depending on your place or your role or place in society, you can get tested, but you just have to be on that upper platform to get that food first, and then the rest of us have to, I guess, wait for it to be like drip fed out to us. It's the
Yeah,
sort of movie that incites anarchy, man.
I,
Where's my baseball bat and my
I do think
torchlight?
so. I think like if there was ever a time for like a modern day revolution, it would be after this COVID-19 thing is finished. I think
It's,
honestly.
it's definitely a thought that everyone's got at the back of their mind these days. I don't
Like
know.
I do remember telling you like at the beginning of all this, like before all of this isolation and lockdown and stuff, like this will be where you see truly if businesses care about their workers. And like
Hmm.
I mean I don't know, man, like after this, if people start treating their workers terribly, I can imagine like people boycotting them. I don't know if you heard, like, but
Yeah.
recently there's a lot of football and like like I think ice hockey and stuff like that in America, like where the owners are paying the players but they aren't paying the staff of the stadiums. So it's
Wow.
like,
Okay.
you know, these footballers or athletes, you call them, like they get, you know, millions or hundreds of thousands of dollars and pounds
Yeah.
a week. They're getting paid their salary, but people who work in the shop or keeping the
That's
security of
crazy.
the
The people
stadium
who
aren't getting paid.
maintain and
Yeah,
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 that doesn't make any sense to me. That is actually pretty insane.
and,
I
yeah.
mean, like I don't know if you heard about Weatherspoons as well, but Weatherspoons has been a shit show for like as
No, I
long as I
haven't
can
actually.
remember. In a recent chain of just like misfortune, Weatherspoons said they're not going to like pay their employees until they actually get the money from the government. Basically,
Oh,
like their
okay.
80%. It's been a big deal because loads of people being told to go home, stay home, but you won't get your 80%. Even after the government has officially been like, yeah, we're going to reimburse the companies and businesses so that people can get their pay. Weatherspoons were still like, until I see the money, I ain't shelling out shit.
Right.
I was reading a post about this, and that was a big, people who've been working with the chain for a long time are just very disappointed in their company.
Yeah, I mean, like that is the problem. Is definitely like right now I can see both sides of the story. Obviously, I think that they should pay them straight away. But I can
Yeah,
see how some fat cat up there would be like, no, 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 we shouldn't pay them now. And it's just
yeah,
really annoying
that's
that people think of their own pockets in a time like this.
yeah. Yeah, I mean, earlier on, Weatherspoons also threw their organization down the whole like political, just like down their own political schemes and shit because they stopped selling drinks from like certain countries or something. I remember,
That was
I,
because
I
of
remember
the
that was ridiculous.
the Brexit.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
so they had to, I
Like,
guess. But
like a business that's just selling stuff. I don't know why they have to make it political. Like why they
mm,
have to follow the political alignment of whoever runs the company. I find that's kind of crazy. I think they should be unbiased, right? Like they're just selling alcohol.
yeah, I mean,
The
you would think
place,
that. I guess
yeah,
it like like addressing the alcohol problem is that they were probably getting ready for the fact that they're not allowed to sell liquor from like European countries. And I don't mean
yeah,
I don't mean allowed as in it's banned. I mean it just costs more money. So they're most likely just gonna use British uh, liquor to sell in their pubs,
Oh, I see.
and I
Okay,
think
that was
it
what
was a
the
way to save
whole
money
aspect
rather
of
than
it.
paying export
Yeah.
tax and stuff like that.
Oh, I sat there and I was like, oh my God, I'm drinking alcohol from a company that's just so politically charged and aligned. Like here in a public place that's supposed to be, like
I would
an
like to think that.
open territory for conversation. Yeah.
Yeah.
I hope to God that's the issue.
Yeah,
Not
I
that
mean,
God exists.
wow,
Took that to a place,
way
didn't
to throw that on right at the end of the recording.
I? Boom.
If we had some viewers that were Christian, we don't have them now. I tell you that.
Yeah,
Jesus Christ.
dude, I hope they don't get my name and my number because they'll be here soon.
Well, I got your name. You said it at the beginning, but
God damn it.
I think that's a good place to wrap up. It's
Yeah.
like our first recording, so we just want to let anyone know that if you have some sort of feedback, any comments, let us know, and we'll just try and sort it out. If you do hear a weird buzzing, then that's my mic, and I will try and sort that out when isolation ends, and I can get a better one. But yeah.
Okay, fair enough. Thank you. Bye bye.